Hello. Welcome back to Notes Due at Midnight, the podcast where we talk about occupational therapy, parenting, business ownership, life, and things that I seem to think about at midnight. I'm Casey Openshaw Haycock. I'm a doctor of occupational therapy, a mom, a clinic owner, and someone who has definitely told a child, let's use our coping skills, while silently wondering if DoorDash delivers emotional support. If you're a parent, teacher, therapist, coach, or honestly just a human being, today's episode is probably for you. We're going to be talking about emotional regulation. Now, before you roll your eyes because you've heard therapists throw around words like co-regulation and self-regulation 1,000 times, stick with me. Because I promise this isn't going to be one of those episodes where I tell you that lavender oil and 3 deep breaths are going to solve all of your problems. If breathing fixed everything, I probably wouldn't have a job. And let's be honest, can we all agree that kids are completely unhinged sometimes? 1 minute they're laughing because the dog sneezed. The next minute they're screaming because their banana broke in half. Or because you opened the granola bar when they wanted to open it. Or maybe you didn't open it when they wanted help. There's literally no winning. The other day, I watched a child have a complete emotional breakdown because his sock felt angry, not uncomfortable, not itchy, angry. And honestly, I didn't know socks had feelings, but apparently they do. Adults aren't better. And here's what I've realized after working with thousands of kids. Most adults are not emotionally regulated either. We've somehow just gotten really creative at hiding it. Kids will throw themselves on the floor, but adults will slam cabinet doors, stomp their feet. Kids will scream. Adults will send passive-aggressive emails that start with, per my last email. Kids cry because the popsicle broke. Adults cry because Excel deleted that one spreadsheet you spent 10 hours working on. Same emotion, different costume. Or my personal favorite, I'm not mad. Meanwhile, you're cleaning the kitchen like you're auditioning for a pressure washing commercial. We've all been there. So here's what emotional regulation actually means. My dog's growling. Maybe he's not regulated. People think that emotional regulation means that you're calm all the time. Absolutely not. If that's the goal, we've all already lost. Emotional regulation isn't never getting mad. It's never getting frustrated. It's not pretending everything is sunshine and rainbows. It's what happens after. Can you recover? Can you come back? Can you apologize? Can you solve the problem? That's regulation. And even as adults, most of us are still practicing. My favorite parent question that I get is, how do I stop this behavior? And I always kind of laugh a little. They might get a little offended when I do that. But I laugh because I know they're hoping for some magical therapist trick. Like I'm going to hand them out a sticker chart made of unicorn dust and their kid's going to be cured. And the truth is, behavior is rarely the problem. It's our information. It's communication. And it's your child's version of sending you a text message. I'm frustrated. I'm upset. And unfortunately, the kids' texting skills are absolutely terrible. So instead of writing, I'm overwhelmed because my nervous system can't process all the noise here. They throw a shoe at your head. Not ideal, but it gets your attention. And think about yourself. Let's make this about adults for a second. Have you ever skipped lunch, drank 3 coffees, answered 50 emails, had someone cut you off in traffic, and then you go home and your spouse asks, "What's for supper?" And suddenly you're irrationally annoyed? The question about supper wasn't the problem. Your nervous system was already running on fumes. and kids are exactly the same. The difference is we expect them to handle it better than we do, which, if we're being honest, is kind of unfair, right? We've all been there. And this is why I'm so passionate about the parent coaching program, because for years, I've had parents sitting in my office saying, I've tried timeouts. I've taken their toys away. I've yelled at them. I've bribed them. I gave them a lollipop to get in here. I've Googled. I've had an emotional breakdown in my car. I've called my mom. I've hidden in the bathroom and closed the door. And honestly, same. We've all had those days. But what I kept seeing wasn't bad parenting. None of this is bad parenting. It was, and it is, exhausted parenting. Parents who love their kids deeply were missing one really important piece. Nobody had ever explained why these behaviors were happening. Parenting isn't about controlling your child's emotions. It's about helping them learn to navigate them. Think of it like teaching someone to drive. You don't scream at them every time they miss a turn. Well, hopefully you don't, but you help them learn. Then, eventually, they don't need you sitting in the passenger seat anymore. Unless you're me, you're absolutely horrible at directions. But that's emotional regulation. We can't skip the practice, right? And here's where I think we all get stuck. We expect kids to magically know what to do when they're upset. We don't expect them to magically know algebra, balance their checkbook, ride a bike, or tie their shoes. So why is emotional regulation any different? It's a skill, and skills require practice. And with emotions, they require a lot of it. Usually at the most inconvenient times imaginable, like at the store, or at church, or at your mother-in-law's house. Kids have a sixth sense for finding the least convenient place possible. And I think that's because they're already feeling overstimulated in these environments. And I always tell families, your brain is like a truck in the middle of a Maine winter. If you don't maintain it, eventually it isn't starting. And you can yell at it all you want. You can bang on the dashboard, but it's still not going to start. And kids are the same way. If they're hungry, if they're tired, if they feel overstimulated, if they're anxious, if they're super busy running from one activity to the next, their nervous system is eventually going to say, nope, we're done here. And then everyone wonders why there's a meltdown over the wrong color spoon. It probably wasn't the spoon. It was never the spoon. But this poor spoon, he gets blamed for everything. So your challenge this week, and what I want you to truly try this week, is the next time your kid absolutely loses it, I want you to pause. And instead of asking, how do I make this stop? I want you to ask yourself, what is this behavior, or what is my child trying to tell me that they don't have words for? And maybe ask yourself the same question, because adults aren't always great at expressing what's underneath either. Sometimes we're not angry. Sometimes we're just overwhelmed. Sometimes we may be lonely. Sometimes we're absolutely exhausted. And sometimes we just needed someone else to decide what was for dinner. Thank you so much for spending part of your day here with me on Notes Due at Midnight. If today's episode made you laugh, nod your head, or think, well, maybe my kid isn't the only one whose socks have emotions, then I'd love if you share this episode with another parent, teacher, therapist, or friend. And if today's conversation resonated with you, that's exactly why I created COPN, Coaching on Parenting and Emotional Navigation. It's not about creating perfect kids or perfect parents. It's about giving parents and families practical tools to understand what's beneath behavior, build emotional regulation together, and make life feel just a little less overwhelming. Because here's the truth. My goal, and the optimal goal, isn't to stop meltdowns forever. The goal is to make them shorter, less scary, and eventually teach our kids how to find their way back to calm. And honestly, maybe us as parents and adults will learn how to find our way back too. Until next time, keep showing up, keep giving yourself grace, and remember, if everyone in your house cried today, tomorrow is a brand new day. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you on the next episode of Notes Due at Midnight.